Okay, Donte, we'll turn it over to you for some opening comments, and then we'll take questions from the media. Raise your hands, media, if you do have a question. Thank you.
The game started off, we moved the football, but at the same time, either we had to settle for three or, we missed a field goal or a drive stalled a little bit. On defense, we had some good little series where we, stopped them, but at the same time, we've never held them to three. They were scoring touchdowns. So that's, part of the problem. And then we have that little swing toward like the last 5 minutes of the second quarter and, the beginning of the third where pretty much, didn't matter what we did. They did everything right. We did everything wrong. And, we didn't make the proper adjustments coming out of half. And, it just pretty much from there, the third quarter was just a terrible quarter for us in all aspects, from offense, defense, and special teams. And then all of a sudden it led over to the fourth. And, you see guys still out there trying to fight. You see guys out there still trying to play hard, but that's just not enough. We got to execute. We got to make plays, and we got to do some things that put other teams in the situation that we seem to be in every time we in the Coliseum, which isn't good enough. And, heading to this bye week, once again, it's about us getting healthy and us, doing the little things a little bit better. I keep saying it, but at the same time, we need to do those things better, whether that's staying a little lower and getting off blocks when we have to tackle, whether that's, finishing blocks on our end on offense or, just taking that extra step when it comes to tackling and not diving. So it's a lot of things that need to be corrected, even the underneath coverage and the on top coverage. So, it'll be things that be expressed and be talked about during this bye week to make sure that we focus on us and, start sprinkling a little bit of Notre Dame to get prepared.
Okay, thank you, Coach. We'll take a few questions here. We'll start with Ryan Young.
Hey, Donte, what was the diagnosis for Michael Drigg after the test results?
Well, right now he has a lower leg injury. They did a MRI, but they got to do another one. So, it's nothing that's broken. It's not an ACL that I do know. So until all the test results come back, for me to just tell you guys something, once again, I'll be lying. And, but I don't expect him to be back right away. That's for darn sure.
Okay. And then is there something specific you see in this team that gives you confidence that they can turn the corner and get past this and not just kind of let things totally fall apart the rest of the way?
You talking about the players?
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. We have 2 NFL quarterbacks, a couple NFL running backs, NFL or 2 wide receiver, NFL tight end. So, and a couple guys on defense that are NFL players. So why can't we turn it around? We just got to make sure we put those particular guys in the right spots so they can make plays and, flourish. And at the same time, when we do put those guys in the spots, they need to make those type of plays that are players that they're capable of being. And, football is all about energy and emotion, and it's a domino effect. Once things starts rolling, players start making plays and everything else, it's a snowfall. So right now we're trying to make sure we head in that direction. At the same thing, keep that energy going that we seem to have on the road, but we need to make sure we find that also at home.
Good deal. Thank you.
No problem.
Excuse me. I will go over to Ryan Abraham.
Hey, Coach, you're talking about energy and emotion. Being the interim head coach for 10 games, it's a long stretch. It's kind of a long time for the players to be in limbo. How do you keep these guys motivated, knowing that now you have 3 conference losses and really a conference championship is probably off the table at this point?
I never really think nothing's off the table because the Pac-12 seems to beat up each other. And, a couple times that if you look at, the Pac-12 or whatnot, teams have won the conference in the South being 6-3 in conference. So nothing's ever off the table. It's off the table if you start to quit or give up. And I don't see that in this team. I don't see that in this group of guys. I'm fortunate enough that, a lot of these guys have, they have my back. Sure, you can talk to a lot of them and they see the changes, but at the same time, change just doesn't happen overnight. It's a lot of things that need to take place. And at the same time, we got to stay the course. You can't all of a sudden start making change and start doing things. And just because a game didn't go your way, that you just switch everything back up. It doesn't go that way. We have to make sure we stay the course and stay doing the things that we feel are the right things and best fitted for this particular team.
And then with any thoughts to putting Miller Moss in the game? There's been some blowouts where there were some opportunities to maybe play some backups at the end. Is there a reason he wasn't in the game?
We were still trying to do everything to stay in the game and win. I mean, we're still kicking onside kicks. If we probably the PI that was toward the end of the game that, you all could watch the film and judge on your own, but the momentum, if we probably didn't get that PI, we got that stop right there. And, you never know what could happen. So, like I said, we were still doing everything toward the end of the game. You see Keaton still throwing the pass to, the Epps for the touchdown. So it wasn't like we were just giving up, trying to just hand the ball off to finish the game. We were still trying to do everything possible to give ourselves a chance in this particular game.
Thank you.
Well,
Ryan Carchi.
Donte, this team had issues in the third quarter for a while, far before you took over. But I know you guys had that great game against Washington State in the third quarter. But it seems like since then those same problems have come back. What do you feel like the genesis of those issues are, just coming out of the half?
I mean, it's a lot of things. I mean, we have to, as coaches, continue to make the right adjustments. Players got to continue to, play with the same emotion, energy they play when the game starts. I mean, it's all of us. It's not one thing to point at, and I'm never will single out a particular person, a particular coach, or anyone. Like, when we win together. When we lose together. It's all of us. Like, everyone here, it's things that we can do a little bit better to make sure that coming out of halftime that things go in our direction.
Are there any sort of changes just in terms of how you guys handle the next week or so that you hope to make specifically, even just, how you approach the bye, in terms of how much you practice or what you do with that practice?
Well, I mean, just we're fortunate enough, like I say, that it goes in the middle of the season for us. And, guys have Thursday and Friday off of school, which I think will be good for some of these particular guys just to get away from everything. So, I mean, just Friday and Saturday pretty much being off days for these guys just to, recharge their batteries. So that'll be like one thing. We're usually Fridays walk through and you're so focused, and Saturday's a game day. So we'll give them rest on those particular days. On Thursday, we'll do a young guy, pretty much scrimmage. We'll have like the older guys come out there and do some sprints, but we also will do a young guy scrimmage just to get some of these guys that haven't got a chance to play in the game a chance to have some live action. And hopefully it carries over to where the following week against Notre Dame, they actually are getting live action. So in the actual game. So just to see some of those guys get some reps and live contact. And then Tuesday will be a regular Tuesday for us. Monday will be a little switch up because we do have the time as far as how we switch meetings and how we switch practice. And, Wednesday will be a little similar to how it's been also.
RJ.
Hey, Donte, I was wondering about Michael Trigg. I know he was a little banged up coming into the game. Was there any concern about playing him going into the game? And then on the particular play, what did you see from that hit? And just from your vantage point, what did it look like to you had happened?
No, because he didn't have that particular problem that, stopped him from playing in the game. And he practiced all week and still was going hard. So it wasn't, nothing with him was wrong to where he couldn't play football. I mean, it's football. After the first practice, everybody's a little dinged up. Nobody's 100% healthy. So that wasn't a problem as far as him playing and him producing. I mean, the hit, it was a bang, bang play. I mean, Keaton threw the pass and he caught the pass and the guy came in pretty low on him and, his foot was already in the ground and he came kind of low. And I mean, it looked bad from my vantage point right there seeing, you always, you hope for the best, but you always got to be able to expect the worst. And fortunately for us, like I say, it wasn't an ACL or nothing like that. So, I mean, that's a kid that put so much into the particular game that at that moment in time, I'm sure that it was a shock even to his system.
And then I know you guys commemorated the lost Utah player with the moment of silence at the game. And it was reported that you guys were thinking maybe about wearing the helmet sticker as well, and then kind of decided not to at the end. Can you kind of go into the way you guys chose to just handle a really tough situation like that?
Yeah, I don't know where all of that came into play, but I definitely do know that, the moment of silence was something that we talked about and something that I thought was right for us to do as far as a moment of silence. So that's what, we did because, I mean, I won't even want to say that's what you're supposed to do, but that's what it feels right to do. Like, you have to, somebody's memory that lost their life, that, their family is, I mean, they'll never get their son back. They'll never get their brother back. And, you know, that's just a tough thing to talk about.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Adam Grossberg.
Hey, Donte, for that young player scrimmage on Thursday, who are the guys that you're looking forward to seeing in live action again after not really seeing that since the preseason? And, you know, who do you think could potentially earn some time next when you come out of the bye?
Well, I don't want to put limitations on any of them and just say it's one particular person. It's all of them. That's why, you know, pretty much we're doing it, give them opportunity to play live action and tackle. Some of them haven't had the opportunity since camp. So just to give them a chance to go out there and showcase what they've learned over the last couple of weeks, because like I say, some of these guys were not mid-year. Some of them, you know, they kind of got thrown into the fire in fall camp. And you ask freshmen to play, but at the same time, how many of these freshmen started on their 9th grade high school team on varsity? That's pretty much what it is right now, you know, and really it's almost like 8th graders because we have 5th-year seniors and some of these guys are 6-year seniors. So, you know, you don't have an 8th or 7th grader start on a varsity football team, but we're asking those guys to do that right now in college. So it's, you know, it's a sped up process, and I just look forward to seeing all of them play and seeing the progress they made over these last few months.
Okay, shotgun.
Hey, Dante, when watching the film, why did the pass protection struggle in the second half?
Well, I'm sorry, why did what?
The pass protection, why did it seem to struggle in the second half?
I think because we became a little one-dimensional. So, I mean, the pass protection is going to struggle when they know what you're going to do. When they know what you're going to do and they could just sit up there and blitz you and, you know, they expect and pass, then it's going to struggle. It's hard to protect when it's like that. But in the first half, you know, it looked pretty darn good because they didn't know if we were running or passing. So we had them a little bit on their heels. But when they all of a sudden become one-dimensional, then they're going to tee off.
And how would you assess Keaton's performance in the game?
I mean, just like all of us, hot and cold. I mean, he did some good things, but then he also did some things that I'm sure that he wish he could come back to and have that throw again or have that play again and, you know, make the right read or the right correction. But that's all of us. That's not just him, you know, and unfortunately enough, you don't get a chance to have yesterday back or have that play back or have that game back. Like, it's gone. So now it's all about what are you going to do next? Are you going to sit up here and let Utah beat us twice and keep focusing on that game and play that game every day in your head, and then you're going to lose again because you're so focused on Utah? Like, we have to take the corrections from that game. We have to, you know, pretty much take all that in, but at the same time, we have to move on. We can't let a team beat us twice.
Ryan Young.
Corey broke through with his first sack last night. What's the biggest area that he's grown and progressed since camp, do you think?
Just dealing with nicks and bruises. I think, you know, sometimes when you come from high school and you're in high school and you're a little beat up, that you have a tendency not to truly have to practice. And, you know, just the high school practice is a little different than college just because they don't have the same amount of bodies and you don't get a chance to go against that same particular guy. Like, you may be a high school defensive end, but the offensive tackle you're going against is not a scholarship player every day in practice. When all of a sudden you come in college, you know, you're going against the offensive line. We have 15, 16 offensive linemen on scholarship. So it's just a different wear and tear on your body of who you compete against every day. And, you know, I think he's starting to realize that the way we practice and the way he has to prepare is different than high school. You can't just show up, put the ball down and make plays. It doesn't happen like that in college.
Thanks.
No problem.
We'll do a couple more here. Ryan Karchi.
Hey, Donte, where do you feel like Chris Steele is just generally in his development?
I mean, junior development, I think right now that, you know, even you ask him himself, he wish he was making probably more plays on the ball. So that's one thing. And some of the spots, you know, we put him in tough situations, but we expect him to be in tough situations and produce. So it's both things, you know. The life of a corner is different than anywhere else, especially what we ask those guys to do here. They're on islands. I mean, they're in one-on-one situations. So I don't care who it is. If Chris was guarding me and you gave me, you know, a couple extra seconds, I'm going to get open against him. At the same time, the he expects to make those plays. We expect him to make those plays, and that's what we need him to do for us to be successful. But it's tough because you can play, I don't know, 65 plays of good football, but if you have 2 or 3 plays that are not really good football, all everyone wants to talk about that position is the 2 to 3 plays that were not good football. Forget the 65 you did well, right? It's just kind of where he's at right now. We got to make sure we get rid of that 1 play per game or that 2 play per game and try to turn that 65 into 67 or 68.
Thanks.
No problem.
And we'll finish with a question from Shotgun.
Donte, after the game, Keontae Ingram said that the offense needs to be more creative. In what ways do you think the offense could be more creative?
I mean, it's a lot of things that, we've tried that's been new. I mean, you see all of a sudden the pistol formation. So you see that to get a little more downhill run game. You saw, pretty much the end around the Drake and different things. So you see some new things that they're trying. We just need to make sure that, I guess, when all of a sudden we're down, that maybe we don't just convert back to old ways. We continue those new things. But I can see the offense of, he probably said it after a game, he's a little frustrated or different things like that, but they're doing everything possible that they can do to be creative right now. And we're going to continue to try to be creative and innovative as much as we possibly can. At the same time, it's a mixture of everything. It's us as coaches, it's the players. We just need to make sure we're all on the same page and we come together, and we're going to make sure that we do that.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, Donte, thank you for being with us. Let me remind the media our schedule this week. We do practice on Tuesday at 4:00, and on Wednesday, we start a little earlier, 3:40. We'll have media availability after both of those. We will not do the Thursday morning Zoom with Coach Williams, nor next Sunday's evening Zoom with Coach. We'll resume then the following Tuesday in our normal routine. So with that, we wish everybody a good evening, and we'll see you hopefully on Tuesday. Thank you for being here.
Right on.